Hello, Counterside PvP enthusiasts. As you may or may not know, we are now on the eve of a massive balance patch that's coming in the next update. And this patch increases, increases the stats of almost every single Awakened unit. And so what I want to do is sort of, halfway off the cuff, just kind of review these changes and make some predictions about what we can expect in the coming weeks and months. And then after time passes, we'll see what we were right about and what we were wrong about. Because I think that a lot of Awakened units really did need an update, an improvement. But some of these changes seem like unnecessary in the sense that the units were already good or certain changes that units just didn't need. Anyway, let's have a look at what's actually happening. So, first off, Awakend Hilda. Now, she definitely needs some love. She's one of the first Awakened units released, and she has fallen off pretty hard. She's still pretty powerful in lower leagues, and sometimes in higher leagues when all the other defender options are banned. Like, literally all the other defender options are banned. But yeah. So she is getting a 20% HP increase, a 15% attack increase, and a 100% hit increase. And what that's going to end up looking like is that, yeah, her hit is going to be about doubled to 1,200. Yeah, and a bit more HP and a bit more attack. Now, Hilda isn't exactly known for being, a damage machine. So I don't know that the attack is really going to help her. This hit though, I think what it'll do is increase her potential to ignore frontline evasion and actually be able to knock things back with her special skill. But overall, like, this would have been nice if this was like the only major change that was happening. It's just Hilda getting some extra stats. But that's not, our reality. This is going to be in context of everything else. Now, Mina, she's got an increased basic attack range, meaning she'll stand further back when she's, attacking and potentially take less damage. 20% HP, 12% attack, 30% hit, and 150% evasion. And yeah, that 150% evasion is going to be big. This is like what would be the level 100 Mina. Has 690 evasion, so 150% would bring her to about 1850. And so after getting her to level 110, she'd probably have over 2,000 evasion, which is insane. I'm not even sure if Crystal Shaolin would be able to avoid her evasion with that much. So yeah, she is going to be a lot more tanky and a lot more difficult to knock back. And yeah, a bit of hit increase. Did she need the hit increase? Yeah, no, she needed the hit increase. That's fair. She still doesn't have a great amount of hit, so yeah. And yeah, I think that's going to make her definitely a bit more viable. She is still popular as a backline assassin and in terror teams, and sometimes I see people using her against, what do you call them? Against rearm Titans on the weeks that he's free. So she'll be more useful. But yeah, with that 100% 50 evasion increase, I wonder if they're intending to try and make people use her as like an actual frontline tank for strikers, or just kind of deployed as like a sort of like Awakend Shifuyu as just midline damage dealer. I guess we'll see. I do think that this will make her more viable as kind of like a supporting damage dealer from the midline. And definitely a boost for people who drop her on things. But yeah, nothing super notable. Mostly it's the evasion that's going to be interesting. It's going to make her a lot harder to take down. Awakend Joo Shiyoon. Bigger attack range, which, you know, is nice for him. He did kind of stand in front a lot. This will let him stand behind our defender and not eat as much damage. 15% attack increase. Not going to change a lot for him. 30% crit increase will mean that he is... Yeah, along with the 25% hit increase, both of these things are going to mean he is going to be doing his counterattacks more often. And 50% more evasion on him is... where is he? Okay, there he is. He's quite far back. Yeah, 50% more evasion is definitely going to help him survive, but it's not a game changer like Awakend Mina's changes for evasion, but it is going to help him. So, you know, whatever keeps him alive, that's good. Awakend Seo Yoon we have a 25% HP increase, 35% attack, and 40% crit. Let's come back to her. There she is. Yeah, 788 crit and 920 hit. Oh, the hit didn't change. Yeah, nothing really special here. It just feels like a general improvement. 35% increase to her attack is probably not going to suddenly turn her into a DPS machine. But it is a nice welcome boost. She is definitely kind of falling off, except for being used as a counter for rearmed Chinatsu. So yeah, good changes. I think she needed probably at least that. I'm not sure if that'll really address the issues with her. I'm not sure if that 35% attack is going to be enough compared to some of the changes we're going to be seeing with other Awakens, but, you know, more damage and more crit. That's probably what she needed the most to justify her cost. 6 Wings Na Yubin, 15% HP, 19% attack, 10% def, and 30% evasion. Very, I guess we can say pretty small buffs, just kind of making him a little bit stronger all around. He does actually put his attack to use, especially if he manages to, like, get on top of the enemy ship. He can definitely mess up ships pretty well. Let me see how much the evasion is going to affect him. Yeah, he's got a lot of evasion at base. So a 30% increase to that is going to do plenty for him. He does already have perfect evasion from, I don't know, one of his skills. I don't own him, so I'm not sure. But he does have decent uptime for perfect evasion. So I'm not really sure how much of a difference it'll make. But, you know, every little bit helps. Definitely could use a bit of love in terms of his stats. Jisoo, 20% attack, 20% def, 215% crit chance increase, and 45% hit. Let's have a look. There she is. No, her crit is horrible. Wow. 277. So 215% increase to that is going to more or less triple it to 900. Who can we compare to that has about that much crit? So yeah, it'll be probably over 40%, maybe around 45% chance instead of 13%. Yeah, I guess that should help her. I don't know, how do people run her? I think they usually run her as a sort of tanky unit, mostly for the heal block, 90%. Is it on her special? Oh, it's her passive. Oh, nice. So no, apparently as long as she's on the field, she's just doing the heal blocking. That's cool. So yeah, I guess this could help her be a bit more offensive. Yeah, her hit is terrible too. Wow. 45% hit is not going to save her. Yeah, her HP is good, her def is good, her evasion is really good. There was just no reason to run her as, like, an attacker. I'm not sure if this will be enough to help. I guess we'll see. Here's my man Jake, my very own avatar and mech killer extraordinaire. 30% HP increase and 20% def increase. He actually does a surprising amount of damage as it is, so they did not need to improve his attack stats, even if that might be felt, just in its absence compared to, like, I think every other unit so far has gotten an attack increase. But he does enough damage, I would say. As a defender, he does enough damage. And yeah, I'm actually kind of concerned about this, because 30% HP and 20% def for someone like him, that can actually make a much more significant difference than they might be expecting, because with his passive, every time he hits, well, basically 9 punches in a row, well, not in a row, just 9 punches collectively, he puts up a 15% barrier to his max HP. And his def is already quite high, and his HP is already pretty decent. And while, yes, if people focus fire on him, especially the soldiers, he melts pretty quickly. Machine Collector also can demolish him pretty fast if comboed properly. But yeah, the thing is, this is going to make him a lot more unpleasant to deal with in lower leagues, because Awakened units have never really been, like, particularly great defender killers, and I don't think these buffs are necessarily going to be changing that. So the 30% HP and 20% def is going to reflect itself in his ability to shield. It's going to shield a proportionately bigger amount of his, like, yeah, a proportionately bigger amount of his health is going to be shields, and so he's going to be a lot harder to take down. If, you know, hypothetically, if people were doing like 25% of his health over the time that it takes him to get a 15% shield, then with these buffs, people are going to be doing maybe 20% or even 15% of his health in the time that he gets 15% shields, which is effectively going to make him from, you know, slowly manageable to, like, completely unkillable for some people. So I think they might even end up walking some of these buffs back, if that's something that they intend to do, because this can actually have a much bigger impact on him than I think they might be expecting. But we'll see. Hopefully they tested these changes out. Now, Maria is actually the most interesting change we've seen so far, because her deployment cost has been decreased from 6 to 5. And this is kind of funny, because in my last video, one of the people who I fought in Challenger PvP happened to comment, and we had a little discussion about him using, well, them using Awakend Maria, and how she could probably use a buff. And I agreed, and I said, not exactly jokingly, but I was thinking to myself, you know what they should probably do with her? Is they should bring her deployment cost down to from 6 to 5, because she's cool, but she's not 6 cost cool. And that's exactly what they ended up doing. Now, obviously, they didn't, like, read my comment and be like, you know what, that hotshot guy has a good idea. We should do that. He's clearly the expert here. So no, this must have been, like, in the pipeline for a long time. But yeah, it's nice to see that they agreed, in a sense. As for the stats, 8.5% attack, 2.2% crit chance, 12 hit, and 95% evasion. So the evasion's the big one. Let's see what the evasion will do for her. Not a lot. She has really low evasion. I mean, I guess this will make it less likely to get pulled by, like, ship skills. Even though she has teleports on her passives. Does she teleport twice? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember when she teleports. It's probably somewhere in her... Yeah, there it is. At 70% and 40% she teleports backwards. So, yeah. That being said, I don't think the evasion is really going to address anything with her. I'm not sure. I mean, she's going to become less likely to get knocked around by what do you call it? Lake Superior's moving everyone to the center ability. But it doesn't seem like it's that important since she can already teleport out if she takes too much damage. Oh well. Still, the main thing is the deployment cost is down, which I think is the smart move for them. For her, I mean, because that's going to be making her actually playable. Because she does have like a very powerful stun, a very long stun if you build her with cooldown. Her ultimate has 6 valid hits, so it can do a crazy amount of damage, and if your enemies are clumped up a little, then she's going to really decimate backlines with her ultimate. Yeah, so she removes buffs, and stuns and blocks incoming healing for 8 seconds, and she can have very high uptime on that if she has a full CDR set, which is how people generally build her. So yeah, no, this is actually going to make her probably a lot more usable. Now Curian's the first one of these changes that I actually have kind of an issue with. I mean, I would say I'd have an issue with Jake. I'm concerned about the ramifications of that, just because of the way his self-shielding works. But Curian's not a unit that I actually use, so this one's actually something that might give all of us non-Curian players some trouble. So an 87% HP increase is probably fair. He's really squishy. It's like tragic how easily he can be killed. I had like a enraged Horizon of mine jump over to the back line and just solo him as he tried to kill her desperately. It was really sad to watch. So yeah, this is good. I'm not sure. I think if you make rearmed Elizabeth with anti-sniper gear, still probably gonna die, even with the HP increase and the def increase. Still probably get one shot by properly geared rearmed Elizabeth. I guess we'll see. I do think that he needed the HP change, the boost in survivability. 30% hit. I'm not sure he really needed it. Let's go check what his hit is. I mean, I guess it's a little low for a sniper, honestly. So, fair enough. And the 38% attack is my issue. Because I don't think anyone's ever, like, fielded Curian and thought to myself, you know what? This guy, he's not doing enough damage. His special, his ultimate, it's just not killing as fast as I want it to. I mean, maybe for soldiers, it's a little bit of a downgrade. You can get a lot more damage for 6 cost. But, I mean, he's got his wardens and all of that. I don't think he needed an attack increase that big. I don't think anyone's issue with Curian was he just doesn't do enough damage. But okay. I think he's... My prediction is that he is going to be one of the biggest winners of this balance update. Because he was already seeing, like, pretty regular play in Challenger level. Not every team was running him. A lot of soldiers still run no Curian Soldier Rush. But I was definitely seeing some Curian teams too. And now we'll probably be seeing a lot more. Because these are our big changes that improve him in every single way that matters. Okay. And Queen. 15% HP, 13% attack, 50% def, 15% hit. Let's see if that def makes much of a difference. Replacer Queen. There she is. Not really. Her def isn't that high. I mean, it'll be nice that she'll be a little bit more, a little bit less squishy, but she'll still be more squishy than Curian, I think, after these changes. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Rearmed Elizabeth will still probably one-shot her without too much trouble. But at least she only costs 5, so it's a little less tragic. Yeah, these just seem to be a small bunch of changes that help keep her in line with other Awakened and not make her completely dead and relevant by comparison. She probably didn't really need the help. They're just making these buffs because other Awakened units got buffs. Now, Yuna is the next unit that I have issue with. Yuna sees a lot of play already in Well, across all levels, I think, but especially in Challenger. She's very popular in Challenger teams because she just has so many different useful things in her kit. She has like a strong buff remover and buff prevention, which is regularly being recast with her special. Let's go check. I don't have her, but where is she? She's probably over here. There we are. Yeah, her special is very short cooldown. People tend to build her with CDR gear, so yeah, skill haste is going to be bringing down her cooldown by quite a bit, and she has pretty high uptime on the nullifying buff and the removing buffs. And yeah, she didn't really need improvements, but what she got is an 88% evasion increase. I mean, I guess these ones might have been fair enough just to keep her in line with the other Awakened units. Even though I'm not really sure if there's a point in giving buffs across the board just to keep everyone in line. Because if they're just keeping in line with each other, then there was no need for the buffs in the first place. Could have just skipped them for her and the attack buff on Curian. But yeah, she did not need these buffs. She is already used mostly as a defender melter because her percent HP burn effect is going to be ignoring all damage resistances and is just going to be consistently doing percentage-based HP damage as long as she stays alive. So all of these changes are actually going to help her stay alive much better. She already has like okay evasion, and another 88% boost to that is gonna allow her to not be evade ignored by nearly as many units. And if you're wondering, and you haven't seen my my 5th PvP guide video, that one goes over hit and evasion and how if you have enough hit, then you can actually ignore evasion. And what a lot of these changes are going to do is causing some units to be having their evasion be unignorable, which is actually going to be a much bigger difference than just having like a higher percentage here. It's like completely game-changing for some units. So her and Awakend Mina having huge evasion boosts can actually change a lot for them in their matchups, especially against snipers who have high accuracy but not like insane accuracy. Yeah, she is probably going to be a lot harder to kill, which, I mean, I guess in a sense is deserved, but that's kind of a problem at high levels because she's too hard to kill. People are just all going to be running her. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of her. She's going to feel a lot more oppressive, and her buff removing and buff blocking is, and her HP burn is just too good. All of these things are going to make her a staple of teams, I think, going forward. Unless the coming up Awakened units are going to change too much. Maybe Awakened Rosaria is going to make her less relevant just because she is an Awakened sniper that does insane damage. But with what we have in the game right now, when Crystal Shaolin is banned, I think we're going to be seeing Yuna everywhere. Oh well. Now, Ministra, 14% HP, 37% attack, 20% crit. I think she was fine. I already liked using her. But these are nice, appreciated changes. Now, some of these, again, just to keep her in line with the other Awakened units being buffed. But, yeah, 37% attack. That's probably going to be felt. And I already like running her, so I'll like running her even more with this, I suppose. Evolved one, HP boost, and defense boost. Let's see where it's at. There it is. Already has a crap ton of defense. Honestly, that's a lot of defense. So that's going to be noticeable. And I think it might be immune to buffs and debuffs, if I'm remembering right. Does it say here? cannot be healed, and all permanent, non-permanent buffs and debuffs are nullified. So yeah, it has huge defense, which is going to be huge damage reduction, and you can't lower it with defense shredding. So yeah, Evolved One's gonna have a much easier time getting its nukes off with this, but the nukes won't be doing any more damage. So yeah, I think the issue that the Evolved One lineup has is that it usually just ends up stalling for a long time until it has enough momentum to push through, and this is not going to help them push through, especially against more robust Awakened defenders. I guess it's at least much more likely that it'll be able to get like a nuke or two off in a match before dying, so you know, good for that. But yeah, I'm not sure that this is going to make Evolved One any more relevant. Let me just really quickly check. The hit is not great, but maybe that's not a big deal. The crit, obviously, complete trash, no evasion. Lots of HP though. Yeah, I think it could have been fine to give it a bit of an attack boost or something, a hit boost, but this is what they went with. 15% HP increase to Awakend Shinjia. Who cares? I mean, I guess that's good for PvP, because she does feel like a little bit too squishy. Usually, if you're able to start damaging her, she will not hold the line at all, and she dies like nothing. Considering she costs 5, it is kind of sad, so it's nice. And our last change is Sigma. And 45% HP, 20% attack, 15% def, and 150% evasion. And let's go have a look at her. Let's see, her evasion's quite low. So this will just kind of more or less bring her up to line to other strikers who have a lot more evasion than this. Still, 150% Ava will be, what is it, 700? Maybe around 900 to 1,000. Maybe a little bit more than 1,000 at level 110. So that's still going to be ignorable potentially by snipers, which are her main issue. But, you know, good. More evasion. She could certainly use it. Maybe at least other non-sniper threats will be less of an issue for her. And, yeah, the def. Her def's not outstanding. It's good. It's not even good. It's fine. For a frontliner, 945 def is fine. So, yeah, the def increase would be good. The HP is kind of low too. I mean, the trouble with Sigma is that she doesn't like do anything. You know what I mean? Like, all of this is basically damage. She does attack air, which is kind of unusual for a striker and can be useful, but all of these things are just damage, and I think her ultimate is targets outside of 13 meters do not receive damage, and yeah, that's actually kind of sad that even her big giant laser just won't damage things that are in the back line. Or, I mean, I don't know exactly how far 13 meters is in this game, but it doesn't seem very far. So yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I'm glad she's getting these changes. These are some of the bigger stat boosts we've seen a unit get, but it doesn't really change anything fundamentally about her kit. There wasn't really any reason to use her, and I don't think that more stats creates a reason to use her. So yeah, when compared to some of the other Awakened buffs, yeah, I don't really think this is gonna save her. But yeah, so we've seen what has actually gotten buffed. What did they skip? They skipped Awakend Seo Yoon. Seo Yoon, damn it. I don't know. I want to say I think they forgot about her, because, you know, even though she only costs 5, she is already not a very relevant unit. Her most important contribution is like being deployed to explode backline enemy flying units and to fight against what's her face, Awaken Horizon. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of sad. Maybe they just didn't want to mess with the Horizon Lee Soo-yeon matchup. Maybe they liked where that was and didn't want to change any numbers. But it's tragic. She's just not very impactful, not very powerful in battle outside of anti-air. So yeah, they didn't give her anything, which, considering they gave most Awaken units something, is really tragic. She's like quite underpowered, I would say. Yeah, they could have at least given her some HP or something. I mean, damn. Maybe they just forgot about her. We'll see. If they decide to give her some changes too, because there was already not a lot of reason to run her, and now I would say there's even less reason to run her. What else did they skip over? Placer King. Fair enough. He's fine. He didn't need help. He is already doing everything he needed to. Let's see. Awaken Amy? I guess fair enough. Her main contribution is her instant kill on specials and ultimates, and her pull with her passive. So in that regard, she was already like working just fine. Didn't need any help. But yeah, considering most Awaken units got something, it is a little sad to see her get absolutely nothing. She could have gotten a little more defense or evasion. That would have been appreciated. But yeah, fair enough. She's not in a bad place, so she didn't really need the buffs. And Awaken Horizon. I think that's fair enough. She's already a very oppressive unit, especially at lower leagues. And even though there are actually plenty of units that are good at dealing with her, and as new defenders have been being released, it's becoming easier to hold the line against her. And yeah, she's banned pretty hard too. Maybe she'll actually feel less ban pressure after these changes, as more of the other Awakened units start to get actually banned. She'll probably get banned less by comparison, and maybe we'll actually be seeing more of her in play. But yeah, she's probably fine as she was. Maybe she could have used a little more crit chance. No, I don't think anyone wanted that. No, she's probably fine. If they could have given her like a 10% stat boost across the board, that probably wouldn't have really hurt anything. It does feel like she's been kind of falling off. She hasn't fallen off by any means. She's still really strong, especially if for players who don't have anything to counter her with. But yeah, I just don't find her to be very intimidating these days. Who else have we got? Ministra they skipped over. Ministra's complicated. I would say in the same way as Jake, where if you just give her more HP and def, which is literally all they could have done for her, then it can turn into a big problem. Because if before she was, you know, barely getting killed before reaching the front line for a lot of players, now she'll be a lot more likely to actually reach the front line and cast her ultimate. So if they tweak the numbers, it can actually make a huge impact on the balance of the game. So maybe they didn't need to make any changes, but it does feel like she's not super impactful at this point. Very few people run her. It's pretty expensive and complicated to get a team for her together. So yeah. Oh yeah, and there is a new unit coming up that's going to make her more potent, more useful. There's like another member of the Elysium Philharmonic thing. It's going to be a flying defender that absorbs like 30% of damage from allies, and has some other stuff going on. So that's going to be very helpful for her. And maybe they just decided that in the Korean version she just doesn't need any help since she's got enough going on. But yeah, she's been skipped. and maybe that's for the best. And do we have anyone else? And yeah, Awakend Shifuyu, of course, is just came out, and I haven't been able to draw her yet. I wanted to make a video on her and Shinatsu, and I have been unable to draw either of them. I'm at like 130 something pity. But yeah, my life story, not important here. Point is, she's strong. From everything I've seen, she's really strong, and she didn't need any buffs. And it's worth noting that there's a couple of units in the Korean version that we don't have here yet, also in the C version, that get buffs. One of them is, whatchamacallit? Awakend Regina. And yeah, I don't remember what her buffs were. Just some number buffs, nothing like super impactful. And there's Awakend, what's his face? The kid in chapter 6, who becomes more than the kid in chapter 6 in the later chapters. You know, no spoilers if you're not that far in the story. But yeah, they brought his cost down from 6 to 5, which seems sensible, and they gave him some like attack boost. Pretty big one. So yeah, he might actually become more relevant now because no one was really using him. Okay, and yeah, no, that's pretty much it. But yeah, let me know what you think of these changes. And I'm being serious, this isn't like an engagement push. I'm actually curious what you think. It'd be a good chance for us to talk about what's going to happen, and then maybe we'll like reconvene here in a month or two and talk about the fallout from this. But yeah, overall, I think Yuna is going to be super, super oppressive in the coming months. Curian is probably going to be a lot more powerful, and it's lucky that he's not a counter, or else there would be a lot more people using him. Jake, I think, is going to become actually tanky with these changes. Like, unironically, people are going to be using more Yubin to counter his shield. But yeah, tragically, Yuna is going to deal with Jake just fine, even with these changes. This is basically exactly nothing to her, because she melts him by percentage of HP, and she removes his shield and blocks his shield, and so maybe as long as Yuna is in play, Jake is actually still going to be just as relevant. I mean, just as dead against a well-defended CDR / anti-ground defense Yuna. Yeah, those things are just going to be terrible. But yeah, anyone not running Yuna, or when Yuna's like banned, Jake is probably going to be a much bigger menace just because of the ramifications of his self-shielding. But yeah, Yumina is, with that evasion increase, he's going to be a lot harder to kill. Anyone who's running Terror teams is going to be really loving these boosts. And Joo Shiyoon here is going to be much better in hospital teams now, I think. And he might be seeing more use in teams behind a defender with his attack range increase. And Hilda still sucks. Like, if right here, if this screen right now was all of the changes, I'd be like, oh, cool. You know, maybe this is too much evasion, but these units needed the help. But because of all of the other changes in context, this sucks. 20% HP, 15% attack, which doesn't change anything, 100% hit, which might let her knock back better. This sucks. What the hell? Why did they do this? This is like a crime against Hilda. She will see exactly no more play than she sees right now with these changes. Like they buffed units that did not need it, honestly, or units in ways that they did not need to buff them. And she gets 20% HP and 15% attack, 100% hit. Who cares? Seriously. Why? Why did they do this? They could have just not buffed her and said, "Oh, we'll think about it and we'll make some proper changes later." This is a tragedy. If they do another balance pass, I'm sure she'll get I don't know, something. Oh well, anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of these changes, and yeah, cool. Let's see what the fallout from this is next week and in the weeks to come.